Starting from about age 5, Rebecca has always been afraid of her room, especially the fireplace in the corner. It had a grate on it that was painted black, which seemed to kind of disappear when the lights went out. And in the dark, she would always see people coming out of the opening of the fireplace. And they never looked at her, but she's pretty sure they knew she was there. And one figure always came slinking out of that fireplace, a young woman. However, Rebecca's family was always skeptical of anything even close to paranormal. So they just thought it was her being a kid with an overactive imagination and that she would just grow out of it and the dreams would go away. Eventually, she became so terrified of going to sleep in that room that she would fight her parents, kicking and screaming, saying, "I don't want to go to sleep in there." And she would just fight them. And every night became this epic battle between her and her parents trying to get her to go to sleep in this room. And she finally convinced them to at least paint that metal grate on the fireplace white so that when the lights go out, she could at least kind of see that. But she continues to be terrified of that room. And despite therapy and medication, by the time she's 14, she starts sleeping on the floor because the nightmares won't go away. And she was even diagnosed with a schizoaffective disorder at age 12 because she kept hallucinating the same woman. Red hair, petite, lots of makeup, dark eyeshadow, and bruises all over her face. Her face was beaten so badly that you almost couldn't see her eyes. And last week, Rebecca's mom finally told her something that she'd been avoiding telling her for years. Rebecca and her family lived in a New York City apartment, so their neighbor was just on the other side of the wall. Now, the neighbor was a nice little old lady who was about 70 years old, who had lived in her apartment long before Rebecca and her family moved in. And when Rebecca was a kid, the fighting over bedtime got so bad and the screaming got so loud that the neighbor heard it. And she was worried because of previous events that had happened in that apartment. Apparently, a drug dealer lived in that apartment before Rebecca and her family had moved in, and he had committed a murder in that apartment in Rebecca's room. He beat a woman to death and stuffed her in the fireplace.